This video is going to help you to learn the flat notes. I have been talking for a while about sharps and flats and how we can sort of organize the information in our minds in a way that we can recall it, in a way that we can navigate from one note to the note that's next to it. We can be aware of all of the possible notes, and we're trying to master now the flat notes. And I want to introduce a drill in this particular video where I show how to navigate by half steps in flat mode. Like, I think of it as modes, because understand that the musical alphabet goes from A to G. A to G are letters that are assigned to notes, to pitches. And the names are letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm just reviewing everything now that I've talked about in all of the videos before this, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But in between A and B, there's actually another note in between. So I think of them as 3-note clusters, A and B, but there's that note that's between A and B. What's that note called? Well, you can call it A sharp, or you can call it B flat. It has two names, but it's the same note. So depending on the musical context, what's going on with whatever you're dealing with right now, is going to determine whether you call that note A sharp or whether you call it B flat. But just understand there's only one physical, actual, real note there between A and B. And it's likewise between all of the letters, and except with the exception of B and C and E and F. So between D and E, there's a note between there. There's between F and G, there's a note between there. And we could call it by its sharp name or by its flat name. But between B and C, there's actually no note between there. Like if you were to physically go to a piano and find a B and a C, there's not a note between, okay? And the same thing with E and F. So those are the exceptions, B, C, and E, F. Once you know that there's not a note between those two, you know all of the other possibilities have a note between. And we call these notes the sharps and flats. Okay, they have their sharp name or flat name. And so I think of it in terms of like, I'm in sharp mode right now, so I'm calling it by a sharp name. Or I'm in flat mode context, so I'm gonna think of that same note by its flat name. Right, so what we're doing here in this little set of videos that I'm doing is building up our muscles for understanding the flats, for being able to call their names, for being able to navigate from the notes, one note to another, maybe from a regular note that's not flat, right, which we call the natural notes, or they're the white notes on the piano. And we'll move from that note over to a sharp, but we're not going to think of it as a sharp, we're going to think of it as a flat when we're in flat context, flat mode. Okay, so we might move from the white note to the flat note, or we might move from a flat note to a white note by half steps. We want to also be able to do it by whole steps. So these are the things I'm gonna be working on in these videos, starting right now. So let's say we know B, C, and E, F don't have sharp and flat between, right? So if I'm going from C and I'm going down, I'm gonna go down each time for now, because remember, flat is the note. It means to take a note and to lower it by a half step, lower it by one note, the next lower pitch, the very next pitch over that's lower, that's what you want to lower it to. So if I'm lowering C by a half step, there's no flat C, there's no C flat, right? So it's going to be B. Likewise, if I take F, E, F, the E, F interval, and I lower the F by a half step, I'm not going to be at F flat, I'm going to be at E, because there's no F flat note, there's no note between. With all of the other examples though, all the other letters, they do have a corresponding flat for the natural note, okay? So let's do it. Like, okay, let's do a drill. A, what's the note below A? We're thinking in flat mode, right? If we were doing sharp mode, we'd say, oh, G sharp, right? But we're not in sharp mode right now, we're in flat mode. So what's the note below A? And so we're just gonna make that note A flat. A flat. You add the flat symbol, like a little b thing, like a lowercase b kind of, but like it's like a little bit like the bottom part of the B is shaped more like an egg or something like this, right? Pointier than a round circle with the lowercase b. So flat. Flat means you lower the note by a half step by the next lower interval. Semitone is another way to call that interval. Remember, interval is the distance between two notes, and it creates the flavor or color or the feeling that happens when you play those two notes near to each other. The note below A is A flat. So what would be the note below B? It's rocket science, right? You can do it like that, like in the Water Boy. You can do it. Like, you can do it. What's B? What's B? What's below B? B flat. I see you, genius. All right, let's keep going. C. What's below C? Well, there's no flat between B and C, so the note below C will be B. Not C flat, B. Okay? Let's go to D. What's the note below D? Ding, 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 ding. Note below D. We're in flat mode. D flat. Okay. What's the note below E? E flat. What's the note below F? F flat, right? Well, remember, E and F don't have a note between, so the note below F is E. B, C, and E, F are the exception. Let's go on to G. G. What is the note below G in flat modes? All right, we're in flat mode. What's the note below G when we're thinking in terms of flats? G flat. And now we're back to A. What's the note below A? A flat. So let's review real quick, go through all of them, right? This is an easy drill. We're lowering each note by a half step to get to its corresponding flat. A, the note below A is A flat. The note below B is B flat. The note below C is B, because there's no note between. The note below D is D flat. The note below E is E flat. The note below F is, well, E, because there's no note between E and F. The note below G is G flat, and we're back to A, all right? And these are all the notes. So you could count up through all the notes and say, all right, counting, ascending, A, B flat, B, C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G, A flat, and back to A. All right, so this is gonna be the first one. I'm gonna break down the videos into skills. So the first skill is taking a note and lowering it by a half step to find the corresponding flat note or the relative flat note. Then we're going to, and the next one, what I'll do is I'll move up. So I'll, like, say, start like with the note D. I'll say, what's the note above D, but in flat mode. All right, we'll do that in the next one. But here we are. We're building the skills. Remember, when it comes to music theory, you gotta take your time. Like, I mean, I recommend that you watch these scratchy videos where my phone is falling and everything. I recommend that you watch them more than once, or keep cycling between the different videos and testing yourself, because it takes time and it takes repetition. And the more you see it, the more the familiarity increases, And then your confidence increases because like, oh yeah, I recognize this. I recognize it. It becomes like you're looking at your brother's face, or you recognize that guy. I recognize. Hang on. Oh yeah, I remember when I first started learning flats. It was crazy. Like man, I started learning flats and like it was so hard to understand. Like it was crazy. Like my brain felt like it was frying. But now I just look at it, an A flat. Oh yes, A flat. Come on, man. Like everybody knows that. It starts to feel like that after a while. Right, so this is what we're gonna keep doing, building up our through repetition, building up our confidence. And this is going to continue to be mastering the sharps and flats, but we're mastering the flat mode right now. And we're gonna learn how to navigate up and down, and to do half steps and whole step jumps within and then we would have mastered the sharp and flat skill set, just being knowledgeable about what these things are, so when we see it later, because like what's going to happen later, let me tell you, is you're going to be trying to play music, right? If you're trying to become a musician, you're going to be playing music and you're going to be in the key of D. And you're gonna have to recall, wait, hang on, which notes are sharp in the key of D? And then like you're like, wait a minute, hang on, is there flats in key of D? Like, right? So everything gets mastered through repetition and through the process of like really allowing yourself to marinate on it until you know it, like your times tables. So you're going to need to recall the information while you're trying to play something, or you're trying to do build a different skill. You're going to need to rely on these. This is why you don't want to rush through this part, even though it's so boring. Like, I'm not going to try to say like, oh man, this is so exciting. Hell, this is like my favorite thing ever. I'd rather be doing this than eating ice cream. Like, no, no, I kind of hate doing this. This is for people that don't like doing stuff like this, so that it could get easy. You could conquer this nonsense, and then move on to the more funner stuff. All right, so that's enough. That's enough for today. I hope you have a great day, and that you have peace in your soul. Don't be in such a hurry. Gain skills. Skills last a lifetime. And you'll carry them with you as you go from level to level as a musician. And I hope you have success with everything you do, as in, that you reach your goals, the things that you really want to be able to accomplish for fulfillment in your life as a musician. I hope that you achieve them. And I hope that these videos can be of assistance to you. Anyway, I'll see you later in the next one. Bye for now.